Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to talk about agents, managers, publicists, and entertainment lawyers because there seems to be a lot of confusion about what these people do and what their role is and what they can get you and what they cannot get you. So I just kind of wanted to go over it to make a couple of things very clear. So let's start out with agents and managers. On paper, in California, agents and managers are not the same thing. They have very different rights and responsibilities by definition. So generally speaking, an agent's focus is on the deal, negotiating several short-term project-specific engagements between the buyer and the seller. Managers, on the other hand, by definition, are more focused on artist development. So they would be advising and counseling each artist, making them as marketable and attractive to a potential buyer as possible. Sometimes they would also manage the artist's professional life in general so that the artist can basically focus on, their creative productivity. Now, in reality, that's not really what's happening. There are plenty of agents who also take over the role of manager. There are plenty of managers that also take over the role of agents as long as they are certified. The line is really not that. On paper, it looks like managers are a lot more hands-on with their client's career and really managing them and advising them, but a lot of agents do that as well. And a lot of managers also negotiate on behalf of their clients, which if they're not certified, they're technically not allowed, but there's like this gray area in the text. So, I'm not an expert in that field, so this is kind of for agents and managers to know what really the differences on paper are and what their legal rights are. But I feel like in reality, having talked to a lot of agents and managers and, having a manager myself, I feel like the difference is not as stark as it is on paper. A question that I often see online, but that I also get is, how do you get an agent or a manager? And the answer is kind of not the answer that most people want to hear, because you don't really go out and get one. I mean, you can try. You can totally reach out to people. I've done so too. But, very often they will probably find you when they need you, when they feel like they can sell you. So very often you can't go out and hire a manager or agent. That's just not how that works, because they work on commission. So when they negotiate a deal for you, they get a percentage out of that deal. But everything else they do for you, they do for free. So for them, the investment in you has to be worth it. So they need to see your potential and go, yeah, you know what? I think I can get fees for this client if I take them on that are worth my time, so that when they do get work, I can take, that percentage, and that is actually a good return on investment. Because for them, it is an upfront investment. They get nothing from you. You sign your deal with them, they get $0. Very often also a way in, and that was also the way in for me and for a lot of my friends, younger composers who don't have the big studio films to show for themselves yet, was through a client that's already in the agency, putting in a recommendation, and then, their agent going, all right, I'll take a chance on this youngster and we're going to see if we can build up a career together. So that's very, very common as well. That's someone from the inside. Very often it's composers recommending, their additional writers or their previous assistants, or, just a colleague that you have that is familiar with your work and that wants to help you out. So it's very much, again, kind of a game of who do you know and do they like you and do they want to... I mean, no agent has to sign you just because of that. They would still meet you and see if if it makes sense to have you on their roster. But you definitely kind of get a leg up if you have a contact inside the agency. Otherwise, the agents will approach you, when you're already having sort of high fees that are worth their time, when you are already working on, studio productions or something like that. Very often they will approach you and go, all right, we feel like now we can, capitalize on that, but we also feel like we can now take your career and take it further, But you first have to have a career. You first have to have a body of work. Otherwise, they have nothing to work with and they will not sign you because they're like, how am I supposed to sell this person to anyone, without already having something to show for themselves? If they don't see an angle with which to market you to a potential buyer, it doesn't really make sense. And then the second thing that I always see is, does your agent get you work? Because that's why a lot of people want agents or managers, because they think that once you have someone like that, they can then get you work. And that's not really the reality. The reality is that, yes, an agent can open doors. So they have all the studio connections, of course, they know the executives, and they kind of know how to place you in specific situations or set up meetings for you. But at the end of the day, they don't get you the gig. They can forward pitches to you, and you're going to be doing hundreds of them before you even get anything at all. And they can put you in a room with decision makers, yes. But those decision makers are not swayed by your agent. Those decision makers need to see your body of work, and they need to feel like, they can trust you as a head of music department. So the agent themselves cannot really do that much for you. They can negotiate better deals for you, and that is very crucial. They can negotiate higher fees for you, better credit or bigger credit, or any kinds of perks, ownership of the music or any types of rights that you want, Yes, that's kind of what they're there for. So they negotiate the work that you bring to them, but they don't bring clients to you and get you signed or anything. That's not necessarily how that works. They can advise you, though. They can go, hey, if you did this and this and this, I think you're going to have a good shot at getting in the room with these people, and then they're going to be impressed by that, and then maybe they give you something, But it's all a guessing game. It's all just, based on their experience, they can advise you on what to do. But, at the end of the day, it so much depends on the people in the room, liking you, the people in the room trusting you. So you have a lot of people signed with big agencies that aren't working on big studio productions. And that should be kind of serving as proof that even the biggest agent can't really get you that blockbuster movie if you haven't put in that body of work first, and then you convince the people in the room, and only you can do that, and it takes so much time. It takes years of sitting there with them and really, making them trust you, and them getting to know you until they finally will say, okay, we're gonna try this out. So, it's a marathon for sure, with or without an agent. That's completely irrelevant. Now, for entertainment lawyers, those are, studied lawyers, which agents and managers usually are not. Some of them might be, but a lot of them aren't. So they will still advise you once they've negotiated a deal and they get the paperwork back. They will still tell you, okay, now take this to an actual lawyer and have them look this over, make sure they read the fine print and explain this to you, and make sure everything we negotiated is in there and is in there in the wording that we want, all this stuff. Because agents and managers are usually not legal professionals. So you still need to take your contract and take it to an entertainment lawyer. And those people you can actually hire. So even if you don't have a manager or agent, you can still hire an entertainment lawyer, which, is very advisable. They would also represent you, if you get sued for some reason or something happens on the production. It's good to have a legal representative. And then we have publicists who are basically responsible for any type of PR. Publicists can also be hired. They might advise you not to hire them or advise you to hire them. But at the end of the day, it's kind of up to you. So they would normally run, award campaigns. If you're nominated for something, they can run a campaign for that. Or if you want to get nominated for something, then, they can run one of the bigger campaigns for you to kind of get your music heard. They can put you on panels or organize screenings. They can get you placed in articles or get you, interviews with outlets that you want to be in because certain people are reading this and you want to reach these people. They can get you in contact with, soundtrack labels maybe and, get you a deal with them so that your music gets published. Some composers or other people using PR also have their social media accounts actually managed by PR people. So it's actually not them behind their social media. It's a PR person, curating the content and constantly updating the content. And you can hire publicists for individual campaigns. If there's something specific, you have a specific release or, a specific awards campaign you want to run or anything like that, you can hire them for that to create buzz around that. Or you can also put them on a retainer, meaning you pay them a monthly fee and then, they will do whatever they outlined in their proposal for you. Usually, they will give you a free quote and a proper outline of what they would give to you for that campaign, But again, with publicists or PR in general, make sure it's worth it. Because if you don't have anything, if you have nothing to show, then it doesn't really make sense to hire a publicist because there's only so much they can do. Again, they have, similar to agents, they have all the connections. They, know the outlets and they can, if you have something interesting, they can get you into the outlet or, make all kinds of connections for you. But at the end of the day, there's only so much they can do for you. If the people don't have interest and the publicist already warned you that they might not be interested in that, then you might just be wasting your money trying to get PR for something that just isn't going to get PR or not the kind of PR that you wanted to get. So yeah, with PR, it's very expensive. So be sure that if you're doing PR, make it worth that shot. Make sure that you have a lot of material or something good, something with an angle that really makes the PR campaign worth it. So that's all I have to say, I think, about agents, managers, entertainment lawyers, and publicists. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If I don't know the answer, which is likely because I am none of these. I have firsthand experience with all of these, but this is not my profession, so I only know surface level stuff about it. But if you want to know more, I'm sure I can get some more information from, my publicist or from my lawyer or from my manager to kind of supplement the information that might be missing in this video. So yeah, let me know if there's anything unclear or anything further you would like to know. I hope this was helpful. See you next time.